many times have you heard somebody say, make that return? Maybe it was you. Making the return obviously is crucial, but easier said than done. And if you're struggling to make enough returns, this video is for you. We'll start with the absolute basics, and then we progress to some finer details. Let's start with the position. Where should I stand when I return? So unless you know the person, unless you, for instance, know that it's a lefty that you're playing, and they heavily favor serving to the tee from the deuce court, for instance, you want to stand on the bisector of an angle, meaning in a position that enables you to take roughly the same number of steps to both of the most extreme serves that they can hit. So if we're turning on the deuce court, I think I'm in pretty good shape here, because even if they hit a really good wide serve, I can be there with 1-2 steps if I take a diagonal step forward, and I can also cover my backhand about a racket length from the single sideline, and I would start about a racket length at least behind the baseline, because you rather want to be able to move forward than being too close on the baseline and being pulled sideways. What should my ready position be? So I favor a wider than shoulder stance, and here are some variations. So if you see me return, I have my left hand, because I have a one-handed backhand, I have my left hand on the throat of the racket so that I can turn here, and I can turn to my right and release the left hand and hit a forehand return. My grip actually is sort of loosely in a continental grip, because that way I can change one bevel over, because I'm in an Eastern forehand grip, and hit my forehand, or I'm sliding to my Eastern backhand grip. However, there are variations if you are a two-handed backhand player. There are absolutely two-handed backhand players who start with their left hand, their offhand, on the throat of the racket and then slide down to get out to their left, to their backhand. Or they actually start down on the grip. And then if they hit a forehand, they're turning here and release the left hand. I always preferred staying back a little bit further, but absolutely moving forward. So I see a lot of players who kind of receive the first serve of somebody who serves pretty well here. And then they wonder why they're jammed or they're just being moved laterally. So I would suggest back up, and here's the timing for how to move forward. And again, that's a little bit individual flavor, but the gist is, as you're starting back here, as they are tossing the ball up, that is my cue for me to start moving forward. As they're about to make contact, I want to be on top of my split step, because my brain computes as they're about to hit where the ball's going to go, and as I then come down, my hip, depending on where the serve is coming, is already setting out, and my foot is as well. And I really want to work on getting my outside leg behind the ball so that you're not doing this. Always want to get your outside leg behind the ball. So on the forehand, it would be my right, and I can step in to the ball. And my outside leg on my backhand for a right-hander, of course, is my left leg. So you want to get that step in diagonally so that your body weight is behind the ball. Okay, now that we got the mechanics down, where should I return to? And I'm talking more about receiving the first serve. We're going into how to return the second serve in a second as well, of course. But if you're in trouble, going cross court is your best chance. Because if you are in trouble, for instance, you're being pulled out wide on the deuce court and you were to go down the line, you leave your backhand wide open. And of course, same would be true on the backhand side. But the cross court can be even more specific. A newer study shows that you're actually doing better in your return games when you hit your return to their forehand. It has to be deep though. And here are the reasons why. Now it's a little counterintuitive when you're in trouble to go to what, most people's strength is, the forehand. So this area would be phenomenal if you can hit that, because most players have a bigger wind-up when they hit their forehands. So they have less time. And I show you two examples of Ben Shelton when he's receiving exactly that return. And he has to start the point in a neutral position. So that's a great option to go right back to them, to their forehand. One more thing, if somebody hits bomb first serves on the return, two things you can do. Step back a little bit, gives you a little bit more time. Even if you started further back, step back a little bit further, still come forward though. And number two is shorten up your take back, especially on forehands. If you have a bigger wind up, racket back, get your body weight into the ball and just block that ball back. If you want to get all the moves on the returns against any type of server, you got to check out the Singles Playbook by Fuzzy Yellow Balls right here. And I'm going to drop the link down below in the description. What you do is you just scan on a QR code and you get Will Hamilton explaining exactly how to return against whatever type of player you could face. So check it out, the Singles Playbook by Fuzzy Yellow Balls. What about the second serve? Attack it. Especially in club tennis, the second serve tends to be so much weaker. Of course, if somebody has no difference between a first and a second, don't move up. By and large though, in club tennis, you have the opportunity to attack the ball. And you don't want to do that by just hitting the ever-loving baloney out of it. You want to attack the ball by moving up. So check out Alizé Cornet's positioning between the first serve and the second serve. So on the first serve receiving, she's clearly way behind the baseline, and on the second, she's hugging the baseline. Her target is still the middle, and you see how much pressure by just hitting the ball deep down the middle and taking the ball early, she can put on her opponent. So that's a great way to start the point out on your terms. I get a lot of questions about how to return the kick serve, especially if you receive it on your backhand on the outside. So here are three options. We know that the kick serve, if well hit, jumps up high. So if I remain in my regular position, I'm gonna be up here a lot, which is not a place that I want to be. So the first of the three options is the most passive one. You drop back. But you see the issue with that here. I'm so far behind the court that I have to hit a really high quality ball back. And I would suggest you go in deep cross court, because now if you're going to the middle to the forehand for a right-hander, they can pull you off to the deuce court. The other two are more aggressive, but a lot tougher to time. You could just try to take the ball on the rise. You're cutting off that angle. Tough to coordinate, but absolutely what you want to try if you're getting pinned to the back fence and you're just not seeing daylight. Make sure that you're getting the ball out in front, because the topspin has the tendency to bully your racket, so you're not hitting the ball late. Go cross court. Same thing. If you're that far inside the court, say you cut it off here, you can now try to actually get a pretty significant angle. So at least you're starting with something that pulls them off the court. Third option is that you carve that ball off with a backhand. You're still moving forward. Again, little tougher to coordinate, but the change of pace, the change of rotation for the server might be something that throws them off rhythm. If you want more details on how to adjust two good serves, here's another video that you should watch right here.